checked it out yet. I see some new faces on here as well. And we have the 2019 year plan. So each month we just kind of have it broken out by different themes for each month as a global initiative. And then, you're able to bring that into your local chapters. So with June, we have SG Europe. So we have the big London conference coming up on June 5th and 6th. And Jess is going to dive into that a little bit later. But then with July coming up, that's our opportunity to throw a winter and summer party to kind of break it up from like your typical fireside events. So the art assets have been created for that. So feel free to go into Slack underneath the art assets channel, and you'll be able to find some really awesome designs from Ginny. Also on July 17th, we are going to be announcing the Global Conference 2020. Whoop, whoop. That's supposed to be super excited. We're super excited about it. It's crazy because it just feels like it was yesterday. But because of that, we're going to be announcing the date for Global 2020. We ask that you host your party on July 17th, if possible, and announce that Global will be taking place. And we're still putting something together, but stay tuned because we're going to be giving away a special reduced price ticket for those who have hosted it on that date. So you'll be able to pass that along to your community, which would be, super cool. Then for September, we have SG workshop. So we are going to be announcing the theme for that, and that's also another cool way to kind of break up the typical fireside chats. So we give you the opportunity to host a different workshop in which you're able to, put together a topic for your community and give it a different format. And so the theme for this September is going to be boards, mentors, advisors, and why they are important. So you can kind of play around with that and how it integrates into your own ecosystem. And we will be announcing that as well soon. Then for October, we have SG Live, and this is when you'll get to create a live stream event and host it via YouTube or Facebook, and we kind of consider it like a viewing party. And then in November, please host your events during the Global Entrepreneurship Week. And if you check out the main newsletter, we have live links to everything there. So you'll be able to get some more information on that. And if you didn't receive the main newsletter, please let me know so we can get you added there. And then for December, which is very far away, but we have another year of the end party to kind of switch it up. Usually December is a pretty slow season with holidays. So those are just, different themes throughout the year to begin thinking about. Of course, the next one coming up is going to be the global or the June conference. So Jess, I'll let you talk about this a little bit since you're going to be there in just a moment.
Awesome. Can we get a quick show of hands of anybody who's going to SG Europe? Got anyone? Well, I'll go over it super briefly. We've got quite a bit going on in just a 2-day span. So we'll have a half day for Director's Day on June 5th, starting with lunch and a big welcome party and a couple speakers just for directors. So if you haven't planned to go, you still have a week left. I don't fly out till tomorrow. You've got plenty of time. Would definitely recommend looking into that if you've got the flexibility. The conference itself will be the day long on June 6th with a couple different breakout stages. And registration is open. So if you haven't signed up, there's the links in both the April and May newsletters. So you guys can feel free to check those out. There's going to be startups represented from a significant number of countries all over Europe and that whole region in and of itself, which we're really excited to get to see and showcase everything that they've got going on. Also, as directors, you have up to 5 complimentary tickets that you can gift to your community. So if you've got somebody who's really interested in going and ticket price is an issue, or this could be something to really kind of spur them into wanting to go. I know going to Global was kind of what got me super excited and interested in Startup Grind. And so if you've got someone in your community who you think that could be a great opportunity for, you all have 5 tickets that you can gift. And if you haven't registered for your complimentary ticket, but we're planning on it and like have everything sorted out and ready to go, go in and do that now so that we have numbers accounted for. I know Daniel's got some great after parties planned, some pub crawls and all of that, which we are super excited for. So any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer anything about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jess. So SG Women's Month is coming to an end. There's only a few more days left of May. And we're looking for photos to add to the newsletter. So be sure to go into your event, go underneath the event wrap up, and upload any photos or videos that you have from the event so that we can use them. And then also YouTube, if you are on Slack, you will see that Finn sent a note in the HQ announcements just the other week, and you no longer need to log into the SG community email through YouTube, but rather you just have to log in through your own Startup Grind email to the YouTube channel. If you don't have access to that, please reach out to myself or Ford at startupgrind.com. Then in regards to event promotion, so every month we kind of like to give you guys some different tips on how to improve upon your events and make them even more successful than they are today. And so 2 great tricks for event promotion is reaching out to your speaker directly and ask them to connect you to their marketing or PR team. And, once they do so, to then have that discussion with them about their team promoting your event. So whether that be them posting on their company page or company socials or having their founder, then get to share that with their own like Twitter or LinkedIn and do a couple of posts. That's a great way to gain some additional exposure. And, you're always recommended to like frame it in, this speaker and this, CEO and founder is helping entrepreneurs and, help them share the story that you are trying to create as well in your own local ecosystem. And then we also got Pimp My Chapter. So add context about your chapter in the About section. In the About paragraph, you have the ability to make the text all pretty with bold and italics. And in the main newsletter, you'll be able to see some additional options there on how you can add photos to your chapter pages, to your social pages. And it's really adamant to make sure that you guys check through all of your social channels to ensure that you guys have the updated branding on there. If not, this week it's on my to-do list to call you guys out. So might as well do it now so you can avoid having to talk to me again later this week. Then also you'll see today that G posted something really exciting. So we had Bruce, who is out in Cape Town and on the HQ community team. He spent a week in Kenya working with the Google for Startups and all of their partners. And we're taking an initiative this year to empower directors even more so. And so just trying to create different ways and different opportunities that we can continue to pass along to our directors. And so something really excited that Google just released from Marta Krupinska. I might have completely slaughtered that, but good thing she's not on this call. And she's the head of Google for Startups in the UK. And so she just sent over how to build a startup with the best of Google presentation. So I'll share that right now if you haven't seen it. So be sure to check it out. Some really great feedback in there and, just different ways to help your community. So that is it from me. I will leave the floor open. Does anyone have any questions or anything I can answer?
I did. I have some questions.
Okay, go for it. Luis, what's up? How are you doing?
I'm all good. Yourself.
Good. Why don't you give a little brief intro so everyone else on the call knows who they have the pleasure of speaking with?
Hello, everyone. My name is Luis Martinez. I am the chapter director for San Diego. So I have this question real quick. So I ran across a lot of people that are asking me about Startup Grind's business entity because they do want to sponsor, but I wasn't sure about the business entity of Startup Grind and as far as like how does that work with the sponsorships because of that reason. So, heard, if you were a nonprofit, yeah, we can give you money and whatever, but then if you're not, then it's a different ball game. So I'm just very unclear about that whole dynamic.
So what are, go ahead, Daniel.
So Startup Grind as a company is incorporated in America. I don't know. Madeline, can you just mute the new people here? So Startup Grind is incorporated in America. All the invoices go through Startup Grind Incorporated, and Startup Grind get the 20%, and the chapter gets 80%. It's up to the chapter themselves to kind of set up your own entity. So we can't really give tax advice for that. We urge you to go and speak to an accountant in your local area to get some tax advice on how you deal with that yourself. But Startup Grind as an organization, HQ is incorporated.
Okay. Yeah, I know that part. Like that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is on our end, are we for profit or are we non-profit? Like that's what I'm asking. Because when they say, hey, we want to give you money, but they want to know our business entity, like that's where the I guess the struggle comes.
Got you. I mean, in Glasgow, we always said that we were well, you're giving your time up for Startup Grind. I was giving my time up for Startup Grind when I was the director. So that's kind of that's the way I positioned it, is that we're mostly volunteers. I wouldn't.
But there is no nonprofit entity association with Startup Grind. I think that's pretty clear.
No.
It is a for-profit organization, and this is Ramesh Navi. I'm the Startup Grind chapter for Frisco, Dallas, Texas. I just recently secured a sponsorship from Comerica Bank. My chapter is fairly new. We just did 2 events. It started this year, and I'm about to do one more event very shortly. I just secured a funding from Comerica Bank, a sponsorship, and it's a very simple, straightforward process. Obviously, once you have a conversation with who is sponsoring to you, making sure that you project and how you're really trying to develop your chapter and what it's in it for them, as opposed to what's in it for you. That's the first step number 1, and how you can really get them the greatest exposure that they're looking for in terms of social media, your own own gatherings that you're going to have, and then it's an invoicing from startupground.com, and then it's a for-profit organization. Startupground is really not a non-profit entity as such. But once you secure the funding, once it comes to Payoneer.com to you, you can use it into your own personal account, or if you have your own entity on the website, however way you want to take the 80% funding, you take it to your account and then use it to chapter, right? But most importantly, it comes through a Payoneer gateway, and your invoice would go from Startup Grind to your sponsor. And once they pay the money to Startup Grind, they keep the 20% in the Payoneer account. And how the Payoneer account is set up, you can withdraw the funds and use it towards your chapter.
Luis, I just dropped a link in the chat box as well. On help.startupgrind.com, you can find basically the exact question you're asking of if our sponsors are asking if we're a U.S. nonprofit, which we aren't. So if you click that link, it has a little bit more information. So I think that hopefully will help answer it as well.
Thank you, because I've been asking, from other directors to, and nobody seems to know.
Yeah, we're not a 501c3, none of
Have it in
that.
this conversation. Yeah, so I'll look at that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
And if you have any follow-up questions, Luis, don't hesitate to reach out, and I can always talk to the team too to get any more clarification for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Luis, I've worked with a lot of nonprofits, though, also getting some, sponsorships. So they'll ask for a form from Startup Grind, and then Startup Grind, you just do forward at Startup Grind. They'll send you a form if you need that for those sponsors that are investing into your events too.
Okay, so I would just have to send an email to forward.
Yep, okay. And just let them know about the company details and names. They can create an invoice if you need an invoice for the payment as well.
Got you. All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
And you should also get a 1099 from Startup Grind if you don't already have it. So it'll be useful for your sponsors. They would ask you anyways.
Thank you, Ramesh. Anyone else?
I have a piece to add to that. I'm not sure if the money goes through Startup Grind. You can check the website and everything. But if you want to set up your own 501c3 nonprofit, the federal government has actually recently made it a lot easier if it's a small fiscal year. So anything under 25,000, you just file a 1023-EZ, and it's a few months to actually get through that process rather than filing the full application. So that might be something that would help you kind of figure out how to get that tax donation for the company for the funds they're giving you, if that helps. And then I actually have a question on adding people as a team, which we can take offline when you get a second, just the logistics of doing that. And then most of our local community follows events on Eventbrite. And I didn't know how that integration would work between Startup Grind's website and Eventbrite, and if anyone has dealt with that before.
So I believe we don't work with Eventbrite because they're considered a direct competitor to Bevy. Is that correct, Daniel?
So, Robert, there's a few things on this. We have tried to do Eventbrite integrations in the past, and it's just been turned off straight away because we've tried to do it programmatically and they've just turned off our events. We do allow you to we give a lot of the larger chapters meetup groups, but the first line in those meetup groups has to be that this is a paid event. You're in SGX in Lakeland, yes. Is that right? Right. So are you charging for tickets or are you not charging for tickets?
No, but we currently do all of our events through Eventbrite, paid and unpaid. So that's where most of our audience is for the other entrepreneur events we've been doing throughout the years. And now that we're bringing on Startup Grind, how do we transition? Or that's, I guess the question is, how do we put it on Eventbrite and transition those through the website? That's kind of the thought process there.
I mean, it's totally up to you where you market your events, as long as you make it clear as long as all of your attendees go through the Bevy platform. So there's nothing stopping you from putting up an Eventbrite page and then redirecting them to Bevy or then doing the manual process. But what we look for is we look for all the attendees for all your events to be in the Bevy platform.
Great.
And then I also just shared a link in the chat about adding team members. Step-by-step process, but if you if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and we can always connect offline and run through more of like the back end if you have any issues there, Robert. Does anyone have any other questions we can go over?
May I add one quick question here?
Yep.
All right. Just on the sponsors thing, were there any discussions happening on getting this local sponsors some global exposure? At times, it becomes easier for us to even get, their commitment for a longer term. I know that the global exposure requires them to be a sponsor of the global chapter. Are there any discussions happening that they can get some kind of exposure, at least 3 events a year, 3 events a year that their logos or their businesses can be exposed to the global audience, as opposed to just a local chapter.
So your question is like leveraging your local sponsors on more of a global level.
Yeah.
So we'd have to connect you then with our partner, sponsor and partnerships team, because that's kind of a separate beast, having them become a sponsor for global. I know that you're always able to connect your sponsors with our partnership teams, and like say we just had a political organization in Australia who's looking to bring more startups and business to Australia. So now they're doing a unique partnership with a couple core chapters and markets that they're looking to bring startups from, and kind of have like a partnership reached out that way. So I know from like an HQ side, we're always interested in talking to sponsors and kind of figuring out how that looks like in different ways. So if you ever want to connect us with them, we're more than happy to have those conversations. But from like I would say like an event basis, I don't really see that as something plausible to get, global on board, just because there are so many chapters. But if you're looking to get your sponsors involved in global or come up with something, unique, we're more than happy to do that. Like I know Zendesk, they wanted to partner with us a little bit more. And so we connected them with like HQ, because we have actually it was Indeed.com. We have like an Indeed office here in Chicago, and they were one of our sponsors. And so they wanted to come up with something on a greater level. So then we connected them with HQ, and they did a couple of like founders lunches that they then sponsored in some key core markets that they were looking to move into. And we were able to kind of, create that. So feel free to, connect with us, and then we can always connect you with our sponsorship and like partnership team to kind of come up with creative ways on how that looks.
Sure, I'll do that offline. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And then Kama, you had a question next?
Oh. I do. I was just curious. So who was it who said that they don't charge for events? So I don't charge for events either, but I host them out of a co-working space. And I'm just curious, how many of you do charge, and like what you charge? So I guess just like, could you please raise your hand if you do charge? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so most. Okay.
So Kama, if you're in SG Classic, then you do need to charge for events, but SGXs don't need to charge, so there's the option.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So maybe the question would be better posed as, of the Startup Grind Classic chapters represented here, how many of us are, well, I guess it wouldn't matter. We're all supposed to be charging.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't, then we need to have a conversation.
Yeah, we're all supposed to be charging.
Yeah.
Well, okay. When I charged for last month was the first time that I charged, attendance like significantly dropped. So then for this month, I took it off. But
let me ask you, of the attendees, how many did you feel were right for your events as compared to those who attended for free?
Yeah, it definitely does a good job of weeding out people that aren't as interested.
And I know you said that you hosted yours in a co-working space, and I know something that like just we did in Chicago is like any of like the co-working people, they all got to attend the event for free, and we created a unique like discount code for the co-working space. So then that kind of drove a lot of like, you know, local traffic that's like already in that area right before the event to attend. But then for any outside you know, attendees, then they had to pay like $5 or $10. And for Chicago, you know, we're a pretty saturated market when it comes to events. Like there's so many events every day. And so, you know, we noticed that we started as like one of the only, you know, communities offering events for entrepreneurs. And then just as time has gone on, you know, our attendance gets less and less, you know, compared to how they used to be, but it also kind of depends on the speaker as well. And so something that we noticed that has worked pretty well for our chapter is we'll post tickets at like $10, and then just throughout the month leading up to it with promotion, we'll do different like 50% off discounts, or we'll reach out specifically to different groups that it makes sense for them to attend, and we offer them like a little discount code too. So then that kind of drives a little bit of marketing there in regards to still getting people that are willing to pay, and there's still that commitment because they have put down some, you know, they have some skin in the game, whether it's $5 or $10. But personally for us, like we've noticed that our attendance at first, it was like a little off, you know, depending on when we pay or what we charge. But in reality, we have a better attendance because people have put it forth commitment.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, that's helpful. Thanks.
The big thing for us, just adding on Madeline's point there, was when we did have quite large numbers for our events, but we found that once we started either charging or not giving away as many free tickets, then the quality of people in the room went up. The quality of the people in the room that were relevant to what we were trying to do went up as well. So it's always useful to kind of to have that trade-off in your head. I would rather have less people but quality people in the room than have people who wouldn't give value to your attendees. But I've just had a look at your event numbers. They look quite good.
Well, thanks.
Cool. Does anyone else have any questions or some humble brags to share? Anyone do anything, you know, cool this month with a past event? Dan, I know you've got some exciting news with a move and like a new chapter. Come on.
Okay, fine. I mean, I didn't think it was all that exciting for everyone, but yes. So we just celebrated our last event for Startup Grind Prince William County. We merged we just finished merging. Thank you, Madeline, for all of your hard work and help in that. Just finished merging 2 chapters here in Northern Virginia to become Startup Grind Northern Virginia. I will be moving in August and have started outreach for Startup Grind Hampton Roads in the Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk areas of the Tidewater area, Virginia, if anyone's familiar. So yeah, getting some interesting feedback already through social media channels and just starting to work on that engagement, planning to do a free event, a summer party, sort of a meet and greet style type event, just to gauge interest and start working towards the next steps for that chapter.
Awesome. We love. So if anyone's ever in the Virginia Beach area, please give Dan a ring and swing on by. Does anyone have any cool summer parties planned yet?
On the 17th, we hope.
Yep.
Well, that makes it easy. I was trying to figure out when to host a meet and greet. So the 17th, yes, I'm having a party on the 17th.
Yeah, that's it. We're planning on doing a big pre-launch for Global. So we're hoping to have the global page. Well, we will have the global page up by the 17th. So you'll have a special discounted code. You'll be able to do some cool stuff around it, and we're hoping to do like a large global scale Startup Grind global launch. Because it's our 10th anniversary, we're hoping to go big. So hopefully you can all take part in that.
I have a feeling that this year at Global, since it's the 10th year anniversary, they're just gonna have like Oprah on stage, like everyone here gets funding. Be wild. All right, guys. Well, if no one has anything else to share or any questions, then we're going to take a quick photo to show everyone that we did talk today. So if you could all please look at the camera and smile.
Make a good pose. And it needs to be a really nice pose, like a wacky pose. Whatever comes to mind.
Wait, Daniel, will you
We're
take
getting more faces.
Daniel, will you take the thing? It's not working on my computer.
You can't screenshot, okay.
No, it won't let me.
We'll just wait for Kenneth and Amanda, hopefully, to turn their cameras on. Kenneth has no camera. Kenneth, we hope you're making a nice pose anyway. We will know. Right, if everyone's ready, you will do. If everyone's ready, 3, 2, 1. There we go.
Sweet.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, thank you guys all for attending. I really appreciate it. It was great to see so many new and familiar faces. And as always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help. All right, bye y'all.